Hi guys, today we are going to read Animals of the Tropical Rainforest Habitat. Our learning targets are to review characteristics of the temperate deciduous forest habitat, explain how the tropical rainforest habitat is similar to the deciduous forest habitat, identify and use the conjunction but, demonstrate an understanding of the word canopy, and write and draw about characteristics of the tropical rainforest habitat. Our key vocabulary are canopy, colonies, humid, and stalk. Canopy. Canopy is a noun, and canopy is the top layer of the forest formed by the branches and leaves at the tops of the trees. The canopy of the forest shades the plants and animals below. Colonies is a noun. Colonies are groups of the same kind of animals or plants living and growing together. There were several ant colonies in his backyard. Humid is an adjective, and it means having wetness in the air. The air is often sticky and humid on a hot summer day. Stalk is a noun, and it means to follow in a slow, quiet way in order to hunt and catch. A jaguar's features make it easier to stalk prey. So what have we already learned? What do we remember about the temperate deciduous forest habitat? What was the climate like? They had 4 seasons, right? Fall, winter, spring, and summer. And it was never too hot and never too cold. What about, did they have a lot of plants and animals? Absolutely they did, right? Did any of the animals and plants have to adapt? Yeah. Remember those plants, they had to grow in the direction of the sun. And the white-tailed deer, it also had adaptations. Remember, its fur changes color. So what is the equator? We learned about this in our geography and our geology units. It's that imaginary line that splits the Earth in half, right? To a North Pole and a South Pole. So we have the equator is just about there, okay? All right, so the land and the water close to the equator is very warm all year around. Would a temperate deciduous forest be near the equator? No. Why not? Because we know that the land and water near the equator is warm or hot all year long. But we know that a temperate deciduous forest has 4 seasons, which means it also gets a winter. Okay, so it can't be near the equator. Our next read aloud is about a different kind of forest that is located near the equator where it is warm all year long. This type of forest is called a tropical rainforest. The tropical rainforest Rattenborough is visiting today is called the Amazon, and it is located in South America. So it's right here. Okay. The Amazon covers more than 1.4 billion acres in Brazil, and Peru, in Brazil, Peru, Colombia, Venezuela, Ecuador, Bolivia, Guyana, I don't know how to pronounce that one, Suriname, and French Guinea. Our key vocabulary, we've got canopy, colonies, humid, and stalk. All right, so in our read aloud, listen carefully to learn about one example of the tropical rainforest, which is the Amazon rainforest in this story. Hello there, Rattenborough reporting from a fascinating habitat, a habitat that has the greatest variety of plants and animals of any habitat on Earth. Welcome to the tropical rainforest. Tropical places are warm and wet. A rainforest is a thick forest of plants that stay green all year round. So a tropical rainforest is warm, wet, thick, and full of plants that stay green all year around. There are tropical rainforests in many places around the world close to the equator, but the one we are visiting today is called the Amazon rainforest. It is in South America and it is the largest tropical rainforest on Earth. The Amazon rainforest is so dense or thick that a rat like me could easily get lost. The plants in the tropical rainforest are thick because there are so many growing closely together. It's hot and very humid here. The temperature is always very warm and it rains heavily all year long. Because of the warm temperature and the rain, the air feels wet or humid. My fur is feeling very wet and sticky, and it's a good thing that I brought my umbrella. There are between 80 and 240 inches of rainfall here every year. That makes this one of the wettest places you can find on land. Temperate deciduous forests, which you learned about the last time, have broadleaf trees that lose all their leaves in the fall and gain them back in the spring. The Amazon rainforest also has broadleaf trees, but the main difference is that most of the trees here stay green all year long. The evergreen trees in this tropical rainforest replace their leaves gradually throughout the year as the leaves age and fall, so that all the trees are always looking green and never have bare branches like the trees in the temperate deciduous forest. Because the climate here is the same all year round, plants do not need to slow down for cold winter weather, and animals that live here are always have a good supply of food all year. Take a look around. The trees in the forest are so tall that they grow as tall as 13-story buildings, or as tall as a very, very, very tall building in large cities. And so some grow much taller than that. I'm standing in a tree right now, and as you can see, the trees grow so thickly and close together here that from above you can only see a canopy of thick green leaves. You can't see the forest floor at all. Because the sun's light can't get through this canopy of leaves, everything under them is really dark. I've brought a flashlight to help me see down there. The plants of the Amazon rainforest have adapted to this climate in many ways. Because it's so dark in the rainforest underneath the canopy, most plants have large leaves so they can catch as much light as possible. Many of the plants have waxy leaves with ends that are tapered or that get smaller near the ends to help the water drip off them, like the water running off my umbrella. Many types of vines grow in the rainforest. Vines are climbing plants that grow on trees or wind themselves around tree trunks. Many animals use the vines growing among the trees almost like sidewalks and ladders to cross from one tree to another. The rainforest floor is a very shady place, which means it's a good habitat for mosses and fungi that don't need much sunlight. If you can believe it, there are even some plants that don't need any light at all to grow. They grow on the forest floor and get their energy from the rotting leaves instead of sunlight. I'm way up in a particular type of tree found in the Amazon rainforest called a kapok tree. So high you won't be able to see me. The kapok tree is one of the tallest trees around. The kapok has a very long trunk, and its branches and leaves form a canopy over the plant and over the plants and animals below, making it a good shelter for animals like birds, snakes, and monkeys. There are also so many different types of animals that call the Amazon rainforest home. Many types of interesting, colorful birds, frogs, insects, reptiles, and other animals live in the trees and other plants of the tropical rainforest. These huge toucans use their large beaks to cut fruit from branches and to eat lizards as well as other birds. Macaws, which are a kind of parrot, travel in groups and use their hooked beaks to break hard nuts and fruits. And you don't want to get too close to the poison arrow frog, which has poisonous skin to protect it from its predators. I'm back in the kapok tree, one of the very tallest trees in the forest, to see what kinds of animals call this habitat home. What's a habitat again? I forgot. Ah, yes, a habitat is a place where plants and animals live, and they have to have food, water, and shelter. Over there, I can see a squirrel monkey. The squirrel monkey is a very friendly little animal, and it shares a lot of things in common with the squirrels that live in the temperate deciduous forests. The squirrel monkey is very small and has a very long, thin tail that it uses to help balance. It has strong legs that it uses to jump and run, and claws that help it climb up and down trees and vines. In fact, squirrel monkeys are so good at traveling by leaping and running along branches that they hardly ever touch the forest floor. That's pretty crazy. The squirrel monkey is an omnivore. What's an omnivore? Oh, an omnivore is something that eats plants and animals. Right. It eats insects, fruits, and flowers and spends most of its time during the day moving around the forest to find food. The squirrel monkey has excellent eyesight, which is useful for finding small insects, fruits, and berries growing among the green leaves of the tropical rainforest trees. Squirrel monkeys live in large groups, making it harder for their predators, like eagles and snakes, to get them. Now, this monkey is acting a little strange, and experience has told me that this kind of behavior usually means that there's trouble on the way. Aha, yes, look who's coming, some kind of snake. Snakes also tend to eat rats, so I'm going to climb a bit higher and take a look from a distance. Wow, look at the size of this snake. It's a boa constrictor, one of the many kinds of snakes that live in the Amazon rainforest. It's a pretty big snake. This one is about 13 feet long. Boas can have a slightly different coloring and patterns on their skin, but they are well camouflaged in the trees, plants, and vines of the forest. This boa constrictor, like all snakes, is a carnivore. It eats other animals such as bats, which are its favorite food, rodents, yes, rats included, lizards, birds, and even small squirrel monkeys. The boa constrictor is mostly nocturnal, so it comes out to hunt when it's dark, like now. Snakes can eat animals that are much bigger than they are. This boa's jaws open very wide so that when it finds an animal to eat, even animals such as birds and squirrel monkeys, it will be able to swallow it whole. Ooh. The boa constrictor is not the only carnivore in the rainforest. In fact, it will have to watch out that it doesn't become dinner for a hungry jaguar like this one. Jaguars look a lot like leopards. They have tan fur with dark spots, but they are bigger than leopards with shorter tails and legs and bigger heads and paws. This jaguar is about 7 feet long and probably weighs about 200 pounds. Jaguars are very well adapted to living in the rainforest. They have very sensitive hearing and excellent sense of smell. A jaguar can see very well during the day and at night. All these things make it easier for it to find, stalk, and catch its prey. Remember, stalk means to follow in a slow, quiet way in order to hunt and catch. I can barely hear the jaguar moving through the forest. That's because its paws are covered with very thick fur with pads on the bottom. Because they can travel so quietly, jaguars don't have to run far to catch their prey. So instead of having long legs for running, they have short, strong legs that are good for pouncing or suddenly attacking other animals from the ground, from trees, or in the water. A jaguar spends most of the day resting and goes out to hunt at night. It's also very good at climbing trees, which means I should get out of here before it's able to sniff me out. I've moved to the forest floor near the bottom of the kapok tree because there's one last very interesting animal I want to show you. We'd better hurry. It's getting dark and I may have to use my flashlight to show you. These are leafcutter ants, and these ants burrow underground and make nests in groups called colonies. Different ants in the colony have different responsibilities. There are worker ants, soldier ants, and their queen. The worker ants are traveling to the kapok tree nearby where they will use their sharp jaws to bite off pieces of leaves and bring back to the nest. Did you know that ants can carry up to 10 times their own body weight? That's pretty amazing, isn't it? The soldier ants are there to protect the worker ants on their way to and from the nest. These ants spend most of their lives working for food. Nature is amazing, isn't it? Well, it's really quite dark now, and my fur has been sticking to me since we got here, so I think it's time to leave the hot and humid Amazon rainforest. We've learned a lot about this exotic habitat, its climate, and the plants and animals that have their homes here. Now for somewhere very different. Okay, comprehension questions and word work. What is a tropical rainforest? It's a forest that stays warm, wet, and green all the time, and it has many different types of plants and animals. Why is it so dark on the ground or floor of the tropical rainforest? Because the canopy made by the leaves of all the tall trees block out most of the sunlight, right? Those trees, they're very thick, right? And they grow very close together. How have the plants adapted to live in the tropical rainforest? They reach for sunlight or need little sunlight, right? They have those really large leaves so that they can collect as much sunlight as they possibly can. And they have waxy leaves to allow runoff water, right? And then we also remember that the trees have those really big roots. Okay, what is this? What's this a picture of? A boa constrictor. And what kind of food does a boa constrictor eat? Rodents, even squirrel monkeys, birds, all sorts of things, right? Is the boa constrictor a carnivore, an herbivore, or an omnivore? A carnivore. All right. What adaptations does this jaguar have in order to live in the tropical rainforest? It's got those big furry paws, right? So that when it walks, it's quiet, so it can sneak up on its prey. And then it has those short and strong legs so that it can powerfully leap and catch its prey. Okay? Oh, and it also had really good eyesight, right? We learned that too. Okay. In the read aloud you heard, the trees grow so thickly and so close together here that from above you can only see a canopy of thick green leaves. Say the word canopy for me. Canopy. Can you whisper voice it? Canopy. Can you robot voice it? Canopy. Good. A canopy is the top layer of the forest formed by the branches and leaves at the tops of the trees. A canopy is also something that hangs or spreads over something. There is a canopy over the front doors of the store. Okay, I'm going to name two things. You're going to decide which one is similar to a canopy. Remember that a canopy is above a person or an object in order to cover it. Okay? To answer, say, blank is like a canopy. The roof on a front porch or the floor of a house. The roof on a front porch is like a canopy. A tent or a doormat. A tent is like a canopy. A tree's roots or a tree's branches and leaves. A tree's branches and leaves are like a canopy. An umbrella or rain boots. An umbrella. Okay, let's see. All right, let's check our learning objectives. Did we review characteristics of the temperate deciduous forest habitat, not rainforest? Yes, we did. Did we explain how the tropical rainforest habitat is similar to the deciduous rainforest? Oh my gosh, why do we keep wanting to call it rainforest? It's just a plain old deciduous forest. But we did. In a minute, you are going to watch the next video, which is on the conjunction but. Were we able to demonstrate an understanding of the word canopy? Absolutely. And then after you watch your conjunction video, you are also going to write and draw about the characteristics of the tropical rainforest habitat. All right, see you in the next video.